a PowerPoint presentation concerning my topic. So this is restoring the ancient traditions can transform Western business practices for a better world. Just what really does that mean? In 1492, when Columbus discovered America, it was estimated that India represented 20% of the world's economic output. 500 years later, in 1992, it's estimated that India represented only 2% of the world's economic output. Now, what caused this was war, fractured leadership, adverse mercantile policies of the British Empire, social stratification of the Indian caste system, a failure to educate, and a failure to invest. But past results are no guarantee of future outcomes. But for the world to survive the converging crises of climate change, world poverty, the assertion of right makes right, and the failure to educate the marginal social backwaters of this world, India must reassert itself both economically and ethically in blazing a path forward and recovering its prior leadership role in the world. How is India going to accomplish this reassertion? The answer is in the current generations of students sitting in this classroom. It is they who will borrow modern business practices and sciences, but also apply the best practices of the ancient traditions to the work at hand. India should not merely copy. See if I can take this out. Hold on. India should not merely copy Western economic development approaches and their flawed methods of developing technologies without the accompanying guide rails to ensure sustainability. Instead, in my view, India must bring and employ its ancient Siddha and Vetha wisdoms to curb the excesses of Western approaches and, working with the West, seek to repair our world. India's ancient wisdom includes ahimsa, nonviolence, causing no injury, sustainability brought about by adjusting course as may be needed, and having a point of view or knowledge measured not in days or years, but experiences over long cycles of time. In this course, you'll first study past failures of economic development that ignored these wisdoms and the resulting flawed outcomes that could not be readily repaired. Second, you'll see how applying the wisdoms from the first at the beginning leads to far better outcomes. Excuse me. Our first example of economic development without wisdom is found in Easter Island. The island was populated in the 1200s by Peloponnesians who most likely navigated in sailing catamarans from previously settled islands from 1,600 to 2,000 miles away. The most visible element in this culture was the production of massive stone moai statues created to honor their ancestors. The stones were put in place by rolling them on tree trunks. The various tribes competed among themselves in building these stone statues and cutting down the trees to roll them in position. At one point in this competitive culture, the last tree was cut down, and they had not replanted any of them, so that a statue could be placed, but masts for ships capable of leaving the island were no longer available, leaving in a few years, leaving the islanders stranded for the next 100 years until rediscovered by European sailors. Another example of economic development without wisdom is the treatment of the Aral Sea by the Soviet Union. Formerly the fourth largest lake in the world, the Aral Sea began shrinking in the 1960s after the rivers that fed it were diverted by Soviet irrigation projects. Satellite images by NASA in August 2014 revealed that for the first time in modern history, the Aral Sea had completely dried up and is now called the Alkan Desert. The shrinking of the Aral Sea is considered one of the planet's worst environmental disasters. The region's once prosperous fishing industry has been devastated, bringing unemployment, economic hardship, and heavy pollution with subsequent serious public health problems. The cotton that was grown using the lake has withered and died. The lake is no more. There was no sustainable model of water use employed. A final example of economic development without wisdom is right here in America. DuPont's invention in 1940 of PFASs, synthetic chemical compounds that reduce the surface tension of water and were used in the mid-20th century in making Teflon and firefighting foam. PFAS is commonly described as forever chemicals because they do not break down via natural processes and were originally thought to be inert and thus harmless. Given, however, the forever chemical property of PFAS with a half-life of 4.5 years and widespread environmental contamination, PFAS molecules have been shown to accumulate in humans, causing abnormally high cholesterol, suboptimal antibody response, reduced infant and fetal growth, and higher rates of cancer. Chemical corporations that produce PFAS generate approximately $4 billion in annual profits, but they impose much larger costs on taxpayers and the health of the planet's population. These are external costs. Of these costs, remediation efforts fighting PASF soil and water contamination are the most expensive, followed by the healthcare costs of treating people exposed to even low levels of these chemicals, and the cost of monitoring the pollution in human and other life forms. Such costs to society amount to approximately $17 trillion annually. What an economic disaster that is. There's no wisdom was applied as to whether these chemicals should be used and unleashed upon the world. These follow-on courses, students would learn to screen their company's initiatives through the three-part test of Ashima, sustainability, and this long-term worldview, and seek to avoid similar disasters while building a sturdy foundation upon which India can retake its place in the world order and, working with others, repair our world. I look forward to working with you over the coming months and years, taking these courses, learning these more sustainable, do no harm methods, and employing them in our world economy going forward. Thank you for your time. And again, I look forward to working with you. Thank you. Sean?
Thank you. Insight into the ancient wisdom, sustainability, and ahimsa. I think this is what we are looking at from a research and everything. We are bringing sustainable science integrated approach in all areas. And that's the main theme what Stan was talking about. So the whole thing that we are doing research, all the students, it's all about sustainability, conscious, holistic approaches and integrated approaches, bringing the best of all traditions, and not just West and East. There's a lot of other traditions across the world who have enormous knowledge and wisdom, which can be applied and integrated, so we can have an holistic global consciousness, conscious growth, and as conscious science and technology developed. So that's the whole idea. And if any questions, please feel free. Yeah.
I'll point out that I look at past failures of Western culture, Western economic models. There is a real disaster affecting us all today, and that's these unusual global heating patterns. Delhi has had temperatures exceeding world record temperatures that just don't stop day after day after day. And the economy won't work in those kind of temperatures. We have to reinvent our cities, reinvent our economic models. There can't be workers standing out in the sun, selling food, working in temperatures like this. It's a death trap. And so what are the solutions going to be? We'll have to see. Again, this generation watching this seminar will come up with the solutions. Misting stations, readjusting when work is accomplished. Standards as to taking people out of the sun. Standards as to providing cooling water. There are many things that must be done. It's just not sustainable, and it's a problem that needs to be solved, this decade, within this decade. Sean, thank you again.
Thank you, Stan. Any other questions, comments, Taji?
Yeah, so Stan, I think what you mentioned is very significant. I was thinking, what implication would this have in terms of the student research projects? Are you saying that they should choose projects that would lead the society in a right direction, right? Something like that? Is that what?
It would seem quite feasible to here are two, just thinking out loud with you. Here are two sides of the street, or here's a street that's 5 miles long in Delhi, and on half the street, either the left side or the right side, or the first 2.5 miles and the second 2.5 miles, the students arrange for chilled water to be handed out to the vendors who are selling goods in the heat or on the sides of the street, and measure the outcome after a month of doing this. How many? It could be as blunt as this: how many deaths took place in the side of the street that wasn't watered? How many took place in the sides that were watered? How important was this water? And I think the results would, evidence-based results. That's a Western technique, but with the Siddha and Ayurvedic wisdom, providing this water is more sustainable than having the vendors tough it out. They've historically never had water like this. Why do they need it now? Because the world has changed and we have to change our practices. We need more sustainable practices. That would be a research project that the city government could well follow up and put practical changes in a very short time into the field. How much value that would add.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're saying a simple project in which water or chilled water is an intervention in high temperatures that could change the landscape there, right? Because you could look at the mortality rate, maybe not mortality rate, but the level of sickness or dehydration, etc., and then show that the outcome is much better with this positive intervention of chilled water and any other solution. Right?
There could be many other techniques to apply in American cities. Cities such as Phoenix are providing misting stations where they have long pipes and provide hundreds of yards of mist coming out at certain times of the hottest part of the day, and walking under the mist is much easier than in the absence of that. But that, that's costing infrastructure, it costs money to build an infrastructure like that. The cooling, but that would be an equally good process. Put a test misting station up and test the results of it.
Yeah,
Many
and
techniques like that.
and once you show the effectiveness of this intervention with real data, so I think there'll be a greater motivation for municipalities to put these kind of solutions in place, right? This,
I think the approach of the university is not just publishing academic papers that they are nice and they can be very meaningful, but when they suggest active results, that those results, the results of those papers should be picked up and used. I think the university is much more activist and would take good research and try and change conduct based on good research. An example, the university sponsored an Ayurvedic and Siddha doctor in the United States to treat autistic children using ancient Marmakalai and Ayurvedic herbs, using the ancient treatments of for autism. And the results they used when compared with the best Western results, which were employed in Caldwell University in New Jersey. New Jersey has the highest incident of autism in any of the American states. It's getting down to 1 in 38 children born may suffer from autism. The Ayurvedic Siddha treatment cured, if taken at an early age, cured these. The Western treatment can treat symptoms, but they didn't cure. The child remained autistic. We published these papers showing these results, and their treatment is being adopted, because again, on the beauty of the Western method is you tend to follow where the evidence goes. And if the evidence shows that these treatment modalities are effective, more effective than traditional treatments, doctors generally follow the science. And we can do that with these urban heating problems, many of today's issues. And again, these solutions, we need India to take its place in providing these solutions, adopting these solutions.
I think, Stan, the key point here is that the talk about ahimsa, sustainability, and traditional knowledge, ancient wisdom. So these are the areas. The students have different project, and that's where they wanted to set their abstracts. They wanted to write their abstracts along these themes. So these are the keywords. So that way, it is aligning with our mission, and also that the funding is there in the future. Most of the funding is on green science and technology, sustainability, etc. So that's a great funding opportunity, because these students, they may not know that why they're writing a paper. Eventually they wanted to get funding by publishing the paper, and then the areas where we can apply for funds. So the keywords for a abstract would be around these few words, like holistic, integrated medicine, sustainability. So these are some of the keywords. Green science and technology, something that is giving the solution, and it could be, it could be even a modern subject also, but it could be very wisdom based modern sustainability subjects also. But the students should know that we are working towards something that is very different than normal universities do. They just publish papers. It doesn't matter about plastic and any other thing, paint and So now we are going towards like instead of plastic, what do we do better? Like replacements, and we are finding solutions that are withstand time, that can withstand time, and it can have a holistic future. So that is the main lesson I think that the students need to learn from this, and they have to set up their abstract in such a way that they put these kind of keywords, and that is the kind of journals that we may be publishing also. So yeah. Um,
So really, in these projects, these seem to be very practical projects, right? Because you do an experiment with sort of a live audience. Either, for example, the people who sell items in the street of Delhi, or population that has a high concentration of autism, or something similar. So the students will have to work with this population to show the difference with intervention and without intervention. Right? That's the concept here.
That's one concept here, yes.
Yeah. So perhaps would it be a good idea for us to prepare a list of problems? So we just talked about two problems here, right? The autism and the street hawkers. The heat. Should be more similar problem, maybe related to cold sometime?
I think is it an example? I think Stan North is trying to give an example of.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But for future projects for research students, our research students, we have a list of these practical problems that could work on.
Yes. Well, I think they're already working on things that can be extended. It's not like the projects that they are working on are already that can be extended. Actually, they all are practical problems only. There's nothing. I don't think so. There is any project that is a very short project and limited. If they expand on that, each project they can, keep doing on. It's like a PhD for each of the students. It's a lot of things.
So what you're saying, Dr. Sean, is that each of the project can be taken to a higher level. So
Yes.
Right now their target is publish a paper in September, right? They present
Yeah, exactly.
a paper in September,
Yeah.
but if they want, they can continue and take it to a much higher peer-reviewed journal or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea.
Right. And so that will need a little bit more extra effort.
Yes.
On the part of the students.
Yeah. That's the thing, that the whole theme, if they understand the theme, why we are doing it, that's the important part, because that is what different from other institutes. We are different from other institutes just by the theme. We are going to go like very conscious. We are looking at conscious things like, aware of the environment, aware of the health. So going like holistic perspective, integrated approaches, not just anything that will cure, and not looking at long term. You can do a surgery in 5 minutes. You can find a machine that can do surgery, but is that surgery sustainable? So we have to look for where preventive medicine is, where we can change the food, where we can change, non-invasive way of healing things. So those are the replacements we are looking at, right? So for a sustainable future, that's the whole goal of Siddha Vetha in all areas. Even in a sports area, for example, if you're working on sports, what's a sustainable sport? There is like ancient traditional martial arts exercises. There is a cultural activity like Bharatanatyam. There are holistic approaches. They give values. It has values. It's not a random thing. Each thing is designed by our ancient sage scientists in a way that gives us special benefits, therapeutically, physically, mentally. So these are the things that we need to integrate. That's the whole thing. It was Stan was talking about, bringing the Siddha Ayurvedic knowledge, but that can be in any areas. Agriculture, be it agriculture, the faith, the way they did agriculture in ancient days is totally different from modern. And this is a very sustainable waste. There are thousands of very good agriculture practices. So these kind of integrating all the different areas, ancient physics, ancient alchemy, ancient psychology, all these things are going to help, state. So today I had a meeting with one of the persons. She was interested. She want to be the, in our program as a managing for the the India program. She's a psychologist, Western psychology, but she's interested in ancient psychology and wanted to do research. And she's also wanted to look for students who are interested in psychology research that can be done. So that's the integrated approach. When we integrate the ancient I Center Ayurvedic Siddha, paper that we published a few years ago. So those kind of things are what is really needed as a full solution. The Siddhas have gone into very deep understanding of this universe from a very low frequency perspective, mental frequencies, that they were able to tap into that natural energy. And if the scientists are very different, there are natural scientists like Einstein was is by himself a Siddha, but today's scientists, they are stressed out. All that is coming out of is like time, pressure, everything, so they cannot give the best. The Siddhas, they don't have time bound. They are not time bound. So they are not in that pressure. So whatever they gave, it was low frequency. That's the whole difference. So what they were talking about was all for all times. It's not limited to, see, that's why any of the modern solutions, they are very temporary. It keeps on changing. But whatever the Siddhas gave in the ancient knowledge is never changing. It's the same thing. So that's the whole thing, So if you bring the ancient knowledge, and we need a modern approach, and today that's what is lacking. In India, there are a lot of things, but the missing component is that they don't have a modern touch. It cannot fulfill all the different traditions, cultures. They couldn't understand that. So that's what we are bringing here.
Another question that springs to my mind is, let's say a student does a research project using some of these Siddha Vetha technologies or knowledge to make improvement in certain process that is going on. So what journals are available that would really be willing to publish these kind of projects and these kind of work? So do we have any dedicated journals?
Yeah, there are a number of journals. See, there are a number of journals depending on what you write. There is a journal for scientific exploration is one. Journal World Wise Journal is one. World Institute for Scientific Exploration. There are journals like Alternative and Complementary Medicine is a journal. So there are a number of journals. Journal for Integrated Medicine. Journal for Ayurveda, there are many journals in Ayurveda. See, the same way agriculture, sustainable agriculture. Sustainability, there are many journals, they accept many things. Just for sustainability, a number of journals are there. So we have to like find, there are so many, thousands and thousands of journals. I had last time there was a statistics of how many journals I don't have on top of my mind. So there are so many journals that are available that you can keep publishing, and there are rapid journals. So those days we used to wait for a year for publication. One paper means it will take a year. Today, you can publish a paper in 15 days. Very valuable journals. Very good impact factor. It's all paid journal. We have to pay. There's a payment process, but they don't delay it. People, we don't want. I would have paid for publishing instead of, waiting for a year for a paper. It's all worth it. We want to publish our things. So they because reviewers take a longer time. So today, two things are there. For doing research also, we have AI tools which can do much faster, generate faster result. And also the publication process is also faster. So we are looking at, like a very fast process, a rapid process that, the students can easily publish those papers within the time frame. This is not a long time frame at all. research.
So do these journals, the rapid publication journals, do they have very specific requirements that the student has to satisfy before they'll be accepted for publication? Are there
Yeah.
guidelines?
Yes. All the guidelines are given. Any research paper, there is a typical guidelines are given clearly of how long they take for review, what is the kind of format you have to have and everything. They have a template also. So we use the template and refill it, those templates, and they would have given instructions on how to put the, references, what is the format, etc. So the first part will be a editorial review. Editorial review will take care of only the formatting and the way, all those fulfilling things. They don't go into content. So content is usually then the second thing will be done with the content. They will send it to the reviewers, and the reviewers will give back, if there is any question they will ask, and they will have, at least we'll have few questions. They don't accept like that. They'll ask few questions, and then we clarify that. Then the reviewer, editor will come back, gets back to us, and once we clarify that those doubts, then we'll go for a publication process. And before publication process, there will be one more review finally for all the little small details on all those things, and then finally we can publish it. So there is a 3-level process happening before we publish, and this can happen in a very short time, as I tell you today.
So are these expensive? How much do they typically charge, these journals?
So say for example, there is it's a journal food. It costs around 3,500, say, like 3,500, say, right? So that's a typically $3,000 something for a journal publication. Say if you have 4 authors, they divide. If you have 4 authors, you can divide by the 4. So each author, that's the way it works.
Okay. And so if we have some free journals, so the downside with the free journal is that they will take much longer. Would that be true?
No, not necessarily. Say, for example, it depends on what. In a journal, there is something called the impact factor. Impact factor, a new journal may not have an impact factor. It could be a decent journal also. But the journals usually go by impact factor. When we have a bigger impact factor, it is a better journal, as long as, not necessarily, because it depends on the field. See, most of the bio-related field, they have huge impact factors, because the impact factor depends on how many people see that, how many people download, review, all those things, right? So that's a different kind of index used. But because of the community is large in the bio field, whereas a physics or math, they may not have that much impact factor. All the journals are low impact factor, but even then it is valid even if you publish. For a green card process, for example, a physicist or chemist, and all chemists also, they publish a lot, but physicists, mathematicians, they publish only 2-3 papers in their lifetime, like maybe they'll have 15-20 papers. Very few people publish a lot when they become professor, but those are not very big impact factors, but still it's valid because it's a physics subject. So it depends. Impact factors all depends on what subject they are, but in general, so some of them may not have impact factors, but they could be good journals at the beginning. So those, they without fee, they can publish also. Okay. So ancient science is example of ancient science and Ayurvedic are 2 journals. There are many other journals in this VRI Press. If you go to vripress.com, let me show you quickly. This is a journal that they can publish. Advanced certification is, I think. Okay, there we go. So here is a journal. I'm sharing this. So you go to vripress.com.
Right.
So you can see these journals on the left side. Onco reviews, VRA phytomedicine, VRA cell signal, all this, right? There's a journal called Ancient Science and Ayurvedic. So all these journals, there's no fee here. It's free. So you can publish papers here, if students are interested. And in, say, for example, ancient science, we say take ancient science. You can go to, this could be like you can go to this journal and see what is available. You can go to archives and you can click one of these volume 1, volume 2, each volume. So volume 1, issue 1. So this is something you can, so look at this paper, meditation and yoga can modulate brain mechanism. And this is a review paper, right? So if you click this, you will have, the paper, you can click the PDF. You can actually download this paper if you want to download. So I'm keeping this like this, without downloading. So okay, here. So the meditation and yoga can modulate brain mechanism. This is one of the students who published, who came to the Vaika program. It was called YCA program long time back, Divya. So she published this paper. So look at the affiliations. So Divya and Michael Hamlin and myself, we are the 3 authors here. So here you can see the affiliations, the World Institute for Scientific Exploration, Center for Brain and Cognition, University of California, Bellman Center for Photomedicine, Mass General Hospital, Department of Dermatology, Harvard Medical School, and MIT divisions. So they all published together this paper. It's a review paper, and we have, it's a review on how yoga, different kind of yoga is done, how it affects the brain, etc. So where we link the ancient and modern knowledge together, bringing all this. So this is a review paper. So like that, you can go through some of these papers to get an idea. The students can get an idea of, how to publish and how to, format the paper, etc. So these are some of the journals, right? So you have here, if you look at there is a mix of people here with the editorial board. You have Hans Chaudhary. He's an ancient guy. He has the ancient knowledge, Dr. Hans Chaudhary. John Reed is a modern doctor who knows about ancient. Ganapati Subramaniam is a scientist, South America. He knows about ancient, modern. Maria is ancient, modern. Sudhakar is modern. Lakshmanan is ancient. Dr. K. Parma, ancient, modern. So this is the kind of editorial board we have, that they know how to review these kind of papers. So, so this is something that we can always publish, this paper. And, so this is one of this journal, right? So, and you can download all of these journals. It's available for you, right? So it's it's called open source. When you're able to download and the PDF, etc., without paying any fee, it's called open source journals. Okay, so these are the journals here listed. Depending on what you like, you can think, and yeah, interested students, little senior students and all, we can give you some editorial, technical editing, review, a technical editor, things like that. You can be part of the journal also. If you start doing this few papers, then you can also be an editor. Yeah.
So
okay.
Tomorrow's, so when we have abstract review tomorrow, would we be able to sort of point out whether the abstract is good enough for this journal? Would
yes,
it be possible?
Definitely, it's possible. Yeah, I can ask I can even bring the managing editor to that.
I think that will be good. That'll be a good idea, at least one of the sessions, because we have the first session is 11:30 Eastern tomorrow.
Right.
The review, and then another one in the afternoon, I think. Right, Mohanpriya? We have one afternoon.
5:30, I think.
5:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it will be a very good idea if we could bring the editor on board as well, or maybe Friday. I mean, tomorrow is too short a notice. At least they get a flavor of what I mean, because the research students we have are doing an excellent job. I mean, they have excellent projects. So the journal editor has a visibility. I think they'll be more willing to work with us.
Yeah, definitely. And I also emailed the JSC Journal for Scientific Exploration.
Right.
I copied you on that, and I don't know if she responded yet, Margaret. So if she responds, then that's another option, you know.
Yeah. If she
Yeah,
responds positively, maybe we can bring her into one of the reviews.
yes,
Yeah. And that's very good. I think the more involvement the external scientific community has with us,
hmm,
I think our research students can benefit much more.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we should ask if any of the students, do you have any questions or any comments? So please unmute yourself.
No, I don't have
think
any questions.
Oh, my bad. So I think one of you mentioned something about some doctor looking to recruit students for psychology research. I think it might have been you, Dr. Shan.
Sorry, one of the doctors, what was that? Sorry, I lost.
It's okay.
You mentioned about psychology research.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
doctor.
So she has a
Yeah.
PhD in psychology, and her name is Lavanya, Dr. Lavanya. So, you wanted to connect with her? If you're
I would
interested,
love
we can
that.
connect. Tomorrow, I asked her to come to the review thing. So she will be attending the 11:30 morning. Are you available after that?
Yes, I will be there.
So
Or I'm
she'll
also
be,
available after that.
yeah, maybe after the meeting we can connect with her. She will be available for that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
I actually had another question.
Please.
So I'm working with Dr. Agarwal on the AI healing app. And while I have kind of worked on making my abstract and kind of seeing how it's going to be directed, I'm familiar with the research aspect, just not so much the actually creating the app aspect because I'm just not that familiar with like coding technologies. So how would that work if would I be working with a team of collaborators?
I think you should only worry about the abstract right now.
Okay.
You will be working on so tomorrow you focus only on the abstract. What abstract is like, you don't have to know the entire thing, but at least you know what tools you're using, your research methodology, right? That name, whatever you'll be using in the AI, that need to be mentioned. So you don't have to you should have an idea of what you're doing. That's the whole idea of an abstract. But later on you can refine that, you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have time, you can, like, if you're finishing this project quickly, you can do another project as well. If you're interested, that's fine. If you want to switch to psychology later on, that's all fine. But right now, we need some project before the deadline. That's the thing, whole idea, right? Yeah. Okay, so everybody is aware of the conference that's coming up.
Maybe you can give a quick update, Dr. Shan.
So September 21st, 20, 21st, 22nd, those are the 3 days we are looking at. Like, it starts at Friday evening, even if you're leaving like afternoon, if you take a half a day, if it's a school day, you can manage to be there. It's in Iowa, International, Maharishi International University. So the, it's usually like a 4-hour drive from Chicago, or you can come to Devan Airport. I think it's like a 1.5 hour, 2-hour drive from some other place called Devan Airport. I forgot the city thing. It's in Fairfield, Iowa, the university is. So there we have on a Friday, we're going to have like icebreaker introduction to that. And then in the morning, Saturday morning to evening, we have the whole conference event where the different students will present. You can bring your family, and it's a very good environment also to learn that this is kind of conscious, institute that teaches a lot of values. So you can understand this is kind of thing that can be possible, and whatever they are publishing, their students also are going to present. So we'll have a collaborative. The faculty and students are going to focus. So it'll be on one day. So each students get like 10 minutes for presentation. If you're not necessarily everybody have to present, some of you can we'll have a poster session where you can exclusively do. That'll be during the lunchtime, where you'll make your posters and the people will come around and you have to explain if they have questions, and so there are 2 oral and poster presentations. So you can do either of that, right? So if you're a more senior student, you can do the oral presentation. If you're still in the 8th grade, 9th grade, that area, so you may be comfortable with the poster. So that's how you, if you're teaming up with your team member, then you can design that way. And then the next day, that's the whole day, and we will have like some entertainment in the evening, conscious entertainment. I have Jyoti, is a very young, Carnatic singer. She's blind, but she's able to do amazing. She has amazing capabilities. She's also our faculty. So she's able to, perform a lot of things. And then we have T.S. Nandakumar, who is our Dean of the Ancient Music. So he's also being part of it. So we have our faculty and some entertainment in the evening. And then followed by the next day, we'll have a tour of the college, because the campus, there are a lot of things that we need to learn. It's an education tour, and there's some solar, ancient, we have designed by Magesh Yogi, like ancient devices to measure some cosmic things, that solar, related stuff, some campus, solar compass. So those things you can visit. And then by Sunday evening, if you want to stay there, that's up to you. But that's the whole idea is, you wrap up like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you wrap up, So it's like a 2.5 day, 3-day event, right? So that's what, so keep your days open. I know it's school days. That's why we're keeping it on a weekend. And, your parents are welcome, both of your parents. If you have both of parents, they are welcome. Your siblings are welcome too. And we are not going to charge for we'll charge like $100, I think, for each new member that you add on to your days. And then you have to make your own reservations. We'll give you the hotel thing. Like we got like a very good deal with the hotels. So you can book your own rooms with the hotels. They're only small hotels. It's more like it's not a very modernized place. It's a little laid back community, but that's how we call it laid back. But that's the peaceful. I can call it a very serene place. Very peaceful place. So there you cannot expect big hotels and all. So there's like 3 hotels there: the Best Western, American Inn, and then the Super 8. So these are the 3 hotels that are locally available there. I talked to one of these hotels to get some deal, but the other 2 also, if they respond, I'll send you the link. So we can go ahead and book the tickets and make the arrangements, so that way you can visit the campus. Also, most of your students wanted to visit different campuses at this age, so you can see what a campus would look like, a conscious campus would look like. So that will be an example for you, and those you can present your papers, so that will be considered as a publication, as a conference publication, and also it could be turned into a what you call a conference proceedings. And if the proceedings can be separately, by our ancient science, the journal can publish that as proceedings, or if the JSA is also responding, then maybe we will publish in the Journal for Scientific Exploration. So these are options. So you may be, that is a separate thing. The conference proceeding, that's one, and what you presented is one. So you'll have like 2 publications basically. And then if you extend that, that will be a 3rd publication, will be a full paper. If you extend that to a paper, right? I'll be going to a full journal. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for the update. I think we're almost close to the hour.
Yeah.
There's no more questions. I think we are done.
Yeah.
So thank you, Stan. Thank you, Dr. Shan.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's to the students. I look forward to working with them going forward on this and many other important projects to restore the world.
Yep. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stan.